All right, it's Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. I'm here with the multi-division world champion, Danny Garcia, who comes and fights Erislandy Lara on September 14th on PBC on Prime for the middleweight championship of the world. First and foremost, how does that sound? Just fighting for the middleweight world championship.
No, it sounds great. It sounds like I'm trying to be great.
You know, that type of jump from 140 to 147, usually there's a 154 attempt and then, 160. What made you just say, you know what, I'm just gonna jump right into 160?
I would say I am a 154-pound fighter. Um, but I feel like this was the easiest fight to be made for me to fight for another title. I felt like nothing politically could stop this fight. All the other belts are kind of like different promoters and this guy, this guy. So I felt like I would have to wait longer.
hmm
And I felt like this is, I asked for the fight and it got made.
I know this fight's been in the process for a while. I know there's been some network changes and things like that. And when fighters kind of wait for those type of opportunities, sometimes they might not get it. And in this case, everything worked out. You and Laura were very adamant. Title's still on the line. I know politics with the belts and stuff kind of almost may if there were some upsets, but just what made you just say, you know what, I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to wait this out. I'm not going to essentially do anything else except for just get this Laura fight.
Because I know boxing's all about timing. You can't get desperate. At the end of the day, I'm not fighting for the money. If I was fighting for the money, I would have been took a fight. Right now I'm just fighting for my legacy, and I knew that this is a fight that could be made. And if I wait, then I have the opportunity to become a middleweight champion. And that was pretty much it. It's just me waiting for my time to shine. And that's pretty much it. You can't really get desperate. That's how life is. You gotta wait for your opportunity. And when your opportunity comes, you gotta be ready for it. And that's how I'm feeling right now.
Style-wise matchup, right? Most times when we think of Danny Garcia, we think of, huge knockouts, guys hitting the canvas. And then when we think of Laura in the past, great boxer, moves, technicals, slick. But over time, we've seen, not saying that you guys couldn't do it, but Laura's knocking guys out. Your fight with Benavidez showed just pure boxing. You can, box in your back foot, be slick, defensive. I know you guys always had it, but it just seems now in this part of your guys' career, you kind of flipped the switch. When I think of, maybe a few years ago, I probably would have thought Danny's going to come after Laura, Laura's going to box. What can we expect in this type of fight?
No, that's good. I always said as I went up in weight, I kind of got to be smarter. I'm a smaller guy coming up, so I just can't go in there and take punishment and come forward and take unnecessary shots. I mean, I never really took unnecessary shots. I always did smart pressure, broke my guys down and knocked them out. The power is definitely still there. I'm still hitting hard, but I always wanted to be smarter. I want to have a long career. I want to have a long career, and that's why I feel like I'm still here at 36 is because I kind of did change my style. I went back to my amateur days where I'm using my legs, I'm using my jab, I'm using my combinations, and using my good defense. And I feel like that's the transition I always wanted to do, but I can still come forward if I have to.
You know, I recently just interviewed Laura a couple of days ago, and he had a lot of respect for you. As media, we ask questions to kind of get certain headlines and things, but the idea of just fighting a smaller guy, he's been knocking guys out. He didn't really kind of present the idea of like, oh, I'm going to knock Danny. He has a lot of respect for you. He views you as a very challenging fight coming up multi divisions. When you look at Laura, do you view him as potentially one of the most toughest fights? I know you haven't fought, but just and the stuff that he's accomplished at
Yeah,
this.
yeah, he's definitely. I mean, we kind of have the same resume. He's a two-division champion. I'm a two-division champion. Um, he's been knocking guys out. He's been looking good. He's definitely a crafty guy, but I know that I could beat him. I watched his fight with Sullivan, and that's why I knew that I got what it takes to beat this guy.
hmm
And I'm confident that I know I could beat him.
And I asked him, if he thinks he can knock out, what we consider the smaller guy in you. He said, I don't know, we'll see. The fight comes. Do you feel that, a question to you that you could knock out Laura if the opportunity
I
presents
feel
itself?
like I feel like I can knock anybody out if I hit him with the right shot. But you can't go into a fight think you're gonna knock somebody out. you know, then you're gonna be looking for that one punch all night. So
Mhm.
for me, I just gotta go in there and just get off first, let my hands go, turn it into a Danny Garcia type of fight, and just keep my foot on the gas and just keep going, keep going. The knockout comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
You know, when it comes to like, ancestry and ethnicity, being Puerto Rican, Miguel Cotto went from 140 and then captured a middleweight title at 160. Did you ever watch his fights?
Yeah, with
And
Sergio
kind of think,
Mora.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I could
So
do.
those are the fights that actually motivate me. I watch those fights because it's funny because Hoda was around my age and uh more. I mean, did I say what else? Sergio Martinez. I'm sorry, I said
Martinez, yeah.
Sergio already. Sergio Martinez. My bad. He was around like 40 years old, and then Cotto stopped him, and then you got Roberto Duran, who went up Iran Barkley, 30 years old,
Hmm.
who beat the bigger guy for the middleweight title. So, Trinidad, went up to middleweight. He actually won a middleweight title. So those are the fights that motivate me. Those are the type of guys, because those are the naturally smaller guys. But when you say smaller, those ain't really your typical smaller guys. Those guys are very, very physically strong. And that's why I feel like I could compare to those guys because I have a lot of physical strength. And I feel like my physical strength could carry me up to that weight class.
I know you're the co-main on the Canelo Edgar Berlanga fight, and I know just living in America, I'm mixed race and things of that, and so I know that when it comes to like culturally background, sometimes when people look at you as an American, they may not think of like the roots, and I know that De La Hoya has kind of poked at Edgar about the Puerto Rican, that you're not, Puerto Rican because you're
Yeah.
not from the. When you hear comments like that, and I know you're used to it, just growing up in boxing and having to be from Philly and not, but what do you think about comments like that? You just think it's just a fight game and just talking, and you think Edgar, who hears comments like that, big fights like you, how do you just handle something like that?
No, Edgar is definitely Puerto Rican. I feel like it's a lot different now because, um, before I'm on the phone. Before, hold on one second. I'm
You're
sorry.
fine.
I'm on the phone real quick. I'm on the phone. All right, knock on the door. Sorry about that.
No, you're
But
good.
uh, yeah, I would say before, like Puerto Ricans came from Puerto Rico, like Codo, Trinidad. But I feel like the culture changed. Like there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in America now. You got the Edgar Berlangas, you got the Danny Garcias. Now it's like the Puerto Rican boxers are coming from America now. There are some great Puerto Rican champions, but I'm saying the more famous boxers are coming from America now. So I feel like even if when you go to Puerto Rico, like everyone speaks English now. Puerto Rico, they teach English now first. So I feel like, we're all one. I can't agree with Oscar on that one because I feel like Puerto Ricans love boxing. If you from Philadelphia, you from Puerto Rico, or you from New York, you know, Puerto Ricans love boxing. As long as you represent Puerto Rico and holding that flag, you're good.
Awesome. My last set of questions is the last time I forgot to ask you about this, but Eminem spoke about you in a song, and the price went up. Is what essentially like
Yeah.
you responded to it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I know it's pretty cool that these big superstars bring up your name, and even like other boxers, like Kendrick did with Terrence. I know Eminem came out with Terrence also.
yeah.
There was a fight that a lot of fight fans it just never happened. We haven't seen it. Maybe politics. You and Terrence. I know that he's 154. If you capture title at 160, is there just a little, maybe a glimmer of hope that maybe that fight can happen, at some point?
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Like I said, I got Lara in front of me first, but anything in boxing can happen. I know a lot of people talking about that. It's crazy because like a month ago, nobody even cared about this fight, but now like it's crazy how boxing things can make sense real quick.
Hmm.
So right now I just gotta win this Lara fight. That's pretty much it. And the sky's the limit. But as far as Eminem saying my name, that was like to me, that's like Jay-Z. I mean, that's like, yeah, Jay-Z, Biggie or Tupac saying my name.
Hmm.
Because out of all the boxers in the world, he's thinking about me.
Yeah.
That's how you got to kind of think about. He's in the studio writing music. He's thinking about Danny Garcia. So for me, that was like a legendary moment, because real recognize real and legends recognize legends.
Yeah, maybe you can do a feature track one day. I know that he's probably came
Oh yeah,
across.
yeah, but I can't keep up with him. That's different ballgame. Yeah.
Well, look, I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate it always, Danny. And for the fight fans to be, buying the pay-per-view on PBC on Prime and be watching you fight for the middleweight title, crazy, right? Middleweight title on September 14 in Las Vegas. What do you want to tell your fans out there?
Man, just tune in. September 14th is a historic night. We try to make history, and it's what all the great champions do. Go up and wait and try to win another weight class against another great champion.